All right, then you're here, we're here, so welcome back to Tour de Zwift Live. The 7th and final stage of the Tour de Zwift will be underway in a matter of hours. If you need some motivation or inspiration, because it could have been hard getting all the stages done, we are bringing you how many Rhea Hubble races today?
2.
Not 1, but 2. Both the women and the men are racing on stage 7. Back with me today, as I said, is Rhea Hubble. How excited are you for stage 7?
I am super excited, but also a little bit sad because it's the last one.
It is, but if you have raced every stage, that jersey is not too far away. And I promised I wouldn't cry at this point, but the biggest event of the year of Zwift is nearly complete. Thousands, millions have ridden, run, or raced all 6 stages so far. As we said, 1 stage left to go to complete the tour and unlock that special kit. I'm always excited about unlocking kits.
I know.
I'm a bit of a completist. If you have missed any of the stages so far, don't worry, there's a makeup week after stage 7 where you can catch up. Rhea, how many have you missed so far?
3.
Which means in the makeup week, you've got to do how many?
Well, 3, unless you're going to make me do this stage next week, and then it will be 4.
I will try and race you, because we have raced a couple of times so far, but the only time
we
I've
have
got...
a tiebreaker to do.
I've got 5 o'clock in the morning on Thursday morning. It's the only time I've got.
Oh, wait, Thursday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do Thursday morning at 5.
I hoped you weren't going to say that. We did race though, didn't we? Stage 6.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we did.
We met up. We realised it was going to be a tough course, and it is a tough course, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a tough course.
What is so tough about it?
It's just one of those courses which you start going really, really fast, and you think, yeah, we're doing really well, and then suddenly you hit those hills.
Oh, yeah.
And you felt that.
I did. So this, I stuck a little camera on it. This is me in my pain cave going for it, because I'd seen you right at the end. I'd seen Rhea, I'd seen her name banner, and I thought, I'm overturning her. She's raced Ironman, she's a professional triathlete. Look at this. I have to get off at this point and go outside and have a word myself.
I saw you coming for me, and this was me dying after.
1 second, OJ.
Oh, yeah.
1 second.
You beat me by how many seconds?
I think this is when I looked and double-checked.
Not even 1 second. 0.2 of a second.
0.2 of a second.
It's still a win, OJ.
Oh, and it still hurts.
Win,
I'm so gutted. I seriously thought I caught you, and then you accelerated.
I saw your watts go down. I saw you hit it, and I was like, I've got this. I'm close enough. Timing is everything, and I found it.
Timing is everything, and I didn't have it. Now, coming on from that beautifully, we've been asking you to share your TDZ pain faces with us, because that's what you get, either during the ride or afterwards. We've had some great ones. Here's some more. Let's take a look at these. This is Simon.
Simon.
Sweaty Simon there.
Pain and a bit confused.
Yeah. Try Alien there on the bars. Yeah, that is a man. Good try bars for collapsing onto, I believe.
Definitely.
And look at Keith there with the headband.
Wow, Keith grimacing. I hope he did well in that
growling.
race there.
Now, my mate who's seen me racing on Zwift has decided to sign up. He's got himself a turbo. That is my mate Chris in his, I don't know, some sort of dungeon thing he raced in. First time he raced.
But there's something that annoys you about this picture, isn't there?
Yeah, because that's the first time he raced and he beat me. I'm so gutted about it.
Ouch.
Yeah. This is Jack Migor photo. I mean, that's another confused face.
It is
Goes on
another
from Chris beautifully. If we're talking of confused faces, yep,
there
that's
it
me.
is.
Company man.
You got chicked.
Yeah,
that's that face.
I had the full kit on as well. If there's still time to join the conversation, get in touch. Hashtag Tour de Zwift, or join the chat on YouTube or Facebook, which we've got our eyes on. And I'm excited about this stage. And I'll tell you why. There's very few times you can use a tractor as an emoji in any form to say hi. It's great. Now, last time out, the men were back on to take on the Richmond course, and it was very much a race of 2 halves, Rhea. As we said before, it was such an interesting course, both to ride and to race on.
It was such an uber fast course, and nothing really happened until sort of 5K to go. So the whole peloton was together, and then with 5K to go, you saw 3 really sharp hills where the race really started. And with 1 kilometer to go, we saw an attack from Deeger, but it was just a bit too soon. So Brandon caught him at the very end.
You see this in racing in real life all the time, where people go for it.
Yeah.
And we've done it. We've all done it. Where you think you've got the legs.
I know this is the right time to go.
And it's just that drag up to the finish is just, but it made it such an interesting race, and it was so full on to get to that point. It was such a good race. We very much enjoyed it. And you can watch it back if you want to. All of the races so far, you'll be able to see it again, however you find them via YouTube or Facebook. Now, as it's the final stage of the tour, we thought it was only fitting to bring both the men's and women's teams back to battle it out on the Yorkshire course. So tonight we have a double header of elite Zwift racing. First up, the men will be hitting the course in a matter of minutes. Let's see if we can see some of them warming up right now, which I believe we can. First off, who's this? This is Casey Shum from Team X. He's relaxed.
He's super chilled.
Yeah.
Just casually warming up there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there's a bit of strategy. We'll be doing some power-ups, getting that heart rate up, but he's looking chilled there.
Oh, here's your man. He always looks good. Look at him in the Zwift mansion.
His mansion.
This is John
ready.
Levi from the KISS race team. We saw him laying down the power. His face didn't change.
No, I know.
Last time he raced. Absolutely not.
Hopefully some strategy.
Oh, Lionel's got the paper out. He's reading it.
Totally chill.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
How's it going?
Yeah, hang on. What else he got?
Yeah, what's he going to do now? Is he getting something out to say hi to us?
Oh, he's getting his phone out.
Yeah.
They are good quality cleats. Look at those. They are not cleats that he's wandered around. You know, like when you've took your bike, you've gone the wrong way.
You mean like ours?
Like over cobbles and the rest of it. We have been watching some of these riders putting down incredible performances over the last few weeks. It has been phenomenal to see this growing so fast. So we went to visit reigning British champion and Canyon ZCC rider James Phillips to see what a day in the life of an elite cycling esports racer is like. So to do this, let's over to a very calm, a very relaxed Matt Rowe.
It's not just any day, it's race day. And we're going to take a look at preparing to race with a proper fast lad. That's his bed, by the way. Mine's about 200 miles away, but we needed a prop. Zwift British National Champion James Phillips races for Canyon ZCC, a super strong team who take racing indoors really seriously. There's something special about race day, hey?
Yeah, you know, this is where all that hard work pays off. You know, this is what it's all about now, isn't it?
They've secured top sponsors and have 3 other Zwift national champions in their ranks. They're freed by the indoor peloton, and rightly so. I want to examine your race day prep. Let's go to the kitchen. So, James, talk to me about race day nutrition.
Well, I'll just wake up and just make sure I get a good breakfast in me, whether that be porridge or a healthy smoothie. During the day, then, it's just eating healthily, so fruit, nuts. And then the closer to the race, then, if the race is after 7 o'clock, I'll try and get my evening meal in, you know, an hour and a half before the race. The team is sponsored by Noon. We've got an electrolyte drink for during the race.
So you look, train and race like a pro. Do you consider yourself a pro?
I wouldn't say a pro, I'd more say semi-professional. I get free kit, free bike, you know, the best equipment from Wahoo and Canyon. We've got a DS in our team who, whenever we're racing on Zwift, he'll be giving us, you know, sort of little tips on if there's anyone dangerous up the road that we need to chase that down.
So, James, you race in real life as well. What would you say the main differences are, apart from the obvious bike handling?
The main thing is the effort, really, you're pushing out. It's a bit more a time trial effort with those short power efforts in between. You know, in real life is a little bit more draft effect when you're in the wheels, a bit easier in that respect. But there's certainly a lot more harder efforts and those shorter efforts to make the breaks in real life.
Talk me through your race prep, the day before and immediately before you race.
If there's a big race coming up, then the day before might be just an easier session, if you like, with a few little efforts put in.
So a lot of Zwifters jump into their pain cave 5 minutes before their event and it's all a bit rushed. What would you say are your 3 top tips for the last hour before a Zwift race?
Well, if there's a big race coming up, then I'll make sure I'm in here, making sure that the equipment's working, the internet's connected, the bike's all set up properly with no mishaps. Tip number 2 is making sure you get a good warm-up in, so at least 30 minutes beforehand, spinning the legs with a few little efforts. The 3rd tip would be just make sure I got no distractions. I'm solely focused on the race, if you like, because I know how important these are.
Well, he's giving it the big beans now.
He is giving it the big beans indeed. Fabulous tips there.
Yes.
You see, it's all about the prep, isn't it?
It is. Something that we definitely did not do this weekend.
No. My problem is normally, because I've got young kids, that I tend to, my prep is always ruined by me trying to get one of them to sleep.
Yeah.
Just go to sleep.
My race starts in 5 minutes.
I've got to go. Look, just stay there. I don't do that,
No.
honest, I swear. With T-minus about just over 5 minutes from the first of our races, which is the men's race. But before we get to that, let's look forward to the next Tour de Zwift stage. We're finishing in Yorkshire, as usual. Actually, you can do this.
You're doing
Please,
the accent.
please, in your best northern.
No, you're doing the
All right.
accent, not me.
Hey up, Matt Stevens, hey up.
Hey up! Stage 7 of the Tour de Zwift heads over to Yorkshire, home of the 2019 UCI Road World Championships. The A, B and race groups will be riding on the 2019 UCI World's Harrogate Circuit, and this route is a recreation of the very roads raced by the world's top riders in the 2019 UCI World Road Championships. Starting in the heart of Harrogate, the route turns right before the road starts to climb slowly out into the countryside. Turning right again, the riders will head to the Potbank climb before the tough rise up the KOM. The sprint section around residential Harrogate offers some respite from the constantly undulating roads before the even more punishing climb up to the finish line where the route started. The C group will ride the Royal Pump Room 8 route. This route sees the riders head north to the Queen's Highway Loop, then returning onto the main 2019 UCI Harrogate circuit. Once the riders head back onto the residential roads around the sprint segment, they will loop back onto the reverse KOM climb, then complete the circuit in reverse all the way to the finish line. The runners will run along the Queen's Highway route, passing the Pump Room and the Cairn Hotel. The run around the most desirable residential area of Harrogate is certainly not flat, so for a realistic feel, set your treadmill's gradient to match the climbing. And when you're done, pour yourself a lovely cup of TTT.
Hey up.
Well done. Well
Thank
done,
you.
Rhea. I'm not scared of this course, I don't think personally, as I have been with the other ones, but it's going to be brutal, isn't it?
I think you should be.
It's going to be brutal. Can't wait. Now, it is a team race, as always. Rhea, take us through what we can expect from this race.
Well, we are looking at, as you said, a team-based point scoring system, as like the rest of the series has been so far. And there are 3 opportunities to score points in this race today. We are looking at the sprint, the King of the Mountain, and the finish, where the men will score 25 points today. Remember, it is the highest scoring team today that wins, not the first athlete over the line.
That's what's been so amazing about these races. The teams which have talked, you can see they've got tactics, they know what they're doing. They are the teams that have succeeded in the previous races. Let's take a look at some of the teams. Who stands out for you, Rhea?
Well, for me, I think Canyon ZCC has dominated and done really, really well this series, but also Indoor Specialists should get a special mention as well.
Very, very good, Canyon ZCC. They've got a fabulous kit, and they are giving 10% of all of their prize money.
That's
They're giving
right.
it to Quebec Charity. They've already bought 2 bikes out of the money. They're hoping to get 3 if they win more tonight. Let's take a look at some of the riders to watch. These are some of the names that you'll see animating the race, Rhea.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Sam Brandon has had 2 wins so far, and it's also Alex West who's done a lot of scoring for Canyon ZCC. But Ryan Larson is worth a mention because he has scored a huge amount of points this season.
And John Mould as well, who I think was disappointed with how he went in the last race in Richmond.
He's done well in previous
but he's done
races.
previous races as well. Power-ups, they are going to play a massive part in this race, as they have done before. Aero, we know that's so powerful. Draft breakaway, invisibility, Rhea, that is the one that we've seen used impressively so far.
Yeah, definitely. It allows you to sort of just cheat the system, make sure no one knows that you're going for it. But I think today with this course, everyone's going to be hoping for a feather.
Do you see a breakaway?
Yeah, there's so many opportunities for it on this course. Yeah.
Can't wait. We're excited. I hope you are as well. So it's time for everyone to get started. The final race of the men's. Remember, we have got the women still coming up before the end of this show. So let's hand over to our 2 race commentators. That is Matt Stevens. But to kick things off, it's Nathan Guerra. Nathan, my man, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, OJ and Rhea. Awesome pre-show as always. In this course, we are out on that 2019 UCI World's Harrogate Circuit. It's going to be 1 lap, and this course just continues to come at you non-stop. I am fully expecting fireworks right from the get-go. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of sitting around. Now, Matt, right, there is the reality, though, that all the points are on the second half of this course. It's just going to be 1, 2, 3. KOM, kind of long, then the sprint, a little bit long, and then a very short sprint to the finish. So kind of a setup situation.
Yeah, definitely. And it's all about the accumulation of points. The team, of course, with the most points at the end are the winner. So we're going to see slightly different tactics play out. But again, the intensity of these races, you cannot underestimate at all. We're going to be looking at around 20 minutes for the men to lap, with 3 sprints, of course, including the finish. But looking at the profile of this course, you know, about 270 meters of elevation. That's about 800 feet of elevation in 1 lap. There's hardly any flat at all. The only little bit of flat just comes just after the finish. Then you've got that very long drag, 1.4 Ks at 4%. And then it's like a roller coaster all the way. And as was mentioned before, so many opportunities for attack. I do think we could see this one break up, Nathan.
Yeah, and this section right off the bat here is they are going to take the right-hand turn in just a moment over toward that false flat. 4% uphill gradient for a little while, quite a long time, and there is an opportunity maybe to push off the front a little bit. The draft not going to be quite as much of an issue for riders to be worried about for sitting in. We'll have to see what kind of power-ups are going to be used through these sections as well. We do see a lot of power-ups being used very early, actually. Interesting to see. I think a lot of these riders may be looking to grab something different as they do head into the first section. They would be able to grab one, but that's going to be quite a ways off. So interesting to see so many riders using these right off the bat here. But moving to the front of the pack, there is an attack off the front immediately. It does look like it is going to be 3R with Hagen. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen the riders that and the watts per kilogram that they're putting out for the top 10, the current top 10 situation. And it's going to be Hagen from that 3R team, followed up by Pantelier from Evoke, the new esports team has recently launched in the last 6 months or so. Brakovic is there as well for Vision, you can see, as well as Miglinski there for Vitus Pro Cycling.
Yeah, it's worth actually mentioning Yanni Brakovic. He's a rider that raced at World Tour level, rode the Tour de France, Tour of Italy. He actually won the Criterium du Dauphiné a few years ago, one of the biggest wins of his career. And he's sitting in the mix. He is a rider that can put out very, very high watts per kilogram, on an hour upon hour. So he's going to certainly like this course. But as you said, Nathan, I find it fascinating that the amount of riders that are already dropping those power-ups. I think it's because we're going to see most of the action towards the back end of the course, and the power-ups you want are the ideal ones. So we're seeing people lose those now. The draft ones, of course, we help you a little bit in the field. They double in the draft. So I think riders are kind of gambling with the fact that they want different power-up when things get pointy at the back end of this race.
Now, just seeing for a moment that we did see Casey Shum from Team Experimental, one of the most experienced racers that we have seen out on Zwift. I believe he's got pushing up to the 500 races. I might be exaggerating just a little bit. I have to look over at ZwiftPower.com, but I know it was well over 350 at one point recently. Casey Shum, Team Experimental, he's been out here since beta days. And did you see the watts per kilogram? 6 watts per kilogram from Casey just to hang on. Obviously, the front end of this pack is absolutely smashing it. We do see Tarling from Rowan King on the front, 6.5. Rockvik now going as well from Vision here, 6.3 watts per kilogram. They are not holding up on this false flat situation here. This is full on from the get-go, trying to drop as many as they possibly can. And it looks like it's kind of working as riders are struggling to hang on toward the back.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, this stretch is relentless. It's 1.4 Ks at a solid 4%. Even just riding around this course, this is one of my favorite courses on Zwift. It really does hurt. The pedals really do bite. And we're seeing some big numbers. A little bit of attack here. And it gets Greenart's gone clear, pushing 7 watts a kilogram. In fact, it's opened up a 2-second lead, going very, very early for the Cryo team. That is a very, very good move. And we're just coming here to the top of this drag. Then it drops down, kicks up again before we turn right on the back part of the circuit. But a very, very good early attack. But Nathan, as we know, sustaining this amount of power with the quality behind is going to be very, very difficult indeed.
Yeah, it does look like Green Hug here from Cryogen. Does get that 3-second gap there, but it was Rowan King there. It looked like with Maximilian going to the front to try and pull things back a little bit. Brakovic now on the front there as well, 6.2 watts per kilo. Looks like he's being a little bit more of a workhorse today rather than perhaps doing the GC contention. Ollie Jones there as well. Canyon ZCC taking over. Now they're getting into the Super Tux. Things are going to calm right on down, it looks like, as all of the riders that have made the front, the main peloton at this point, are going to try and sit in, probably rest up a little bit before this next kick. Now it does go down very fast here, 7% negative, 7% gradient for a moment. There are a couple of riders now falling off the back though, right off the bat. Bard there from 3Rs off the back. We're seeing Britt there from KRT team trying to jump back on terms. There's about 8 riders that have just actually fallen off terms already here with this pack here. So obviously that pace, what they want to do, to try and break things up and put people on the back foot, put those heart rates over. It was working for these riders who attack from the get-go here on that false flat section of the course here. There's a chase group actually with Podsline, one of the favorites from Team Experimentals off the back here as well. So Lionel Vyasen toward the front. He set himself up correctly though. You can see that 5.6 watts per kilogram coming from him, 170 beats per minute, and looking fairly look at him, fairly relaxed. Put his hands across handlebars.
Mr. Casual. That was a totally Mr. Casual. Love the green screen action in the background as well. But that again just emphasizes, we said it last week, it just shows how good, how fit these athletes are doing this esports on Zwift. I mean, if any of you out there watching this fascinated and you're on Zwift, jump on Zwift and try and ride at that speed. Looked like he was breathing through his nose, but this is a very, very high caliber race indeed. Another little dip now before another little drag. As you can see, Many riders off the bat. It looks like 10 riders have been detached, but this first part of the course isn't easy at all, and things just get harder and harder and harder. And from this point in, there is not one flat bit of road.
I believe it was about a week ago or so that Lionel Vialson actually seemed very calm. He knows this course really well. He actually, from this point, had a mechanical issue in a live race just about a week ago and crawled his way back. Now, not the same caliber of racers, I don't think, that he was amongst, but he knows how to win on this course, knows when to go. So I'd be watching out for Lionel, perhaps, and I think there's some confidence in him, specifically on this course, after such an amazing effort that we saw last week, specifically here with that live Amsterdam event that he was in. So we'll see if he can repeat something like that out here today. But I think indoor specialists definitely be marking Canyon ZCC in any moves that they do make, because that has kind of been the story. Indoor specialists versus Canyon ZCC as far as the team points go. There's also been some upsets though with some solo riders, and we could see one or two solo riders try and take it on the day. Definitely Vitus Pro Cycling with McGlinchey has been somebody that I would call very aggressive each and every day of these races.
Indeed. Well, it's worth a reminder for who won last week's race over in Richmond, or the last race for the men, should I say. That was Canyon ZCC, followed by Indoor Specialists and Innovation. And that round was won by Sam Brundtland and Nicky Hug behind, and then Sean Vincent. Of course, Sam Brundtland has won 2 events so far and has to be one of the out-and-out favourites. Just onto another slightly downhill stretch before things kick again. This really is a rolly part of the circuit. This essentially is the furthest part of the circuit that the riders will get to before they start dropping back into Harrogate, and it starts to get a little bit built up with some great camera shots here of the riders swooping down this descent.
Indoor Specialist taking over toward the front now. This is a section that's very dangerous. The speeds are so incredibly high, and there was a couple of riders there sleeping for a moment, and you cannot sleep at this point. It looks like all the way back in 78th place, Jay Wilson, Yadka there is from Team Draft, Looker, Szuzinski from Team Poland, all sleeping a little bit on the downhill, and the kind of speeds that came through on that downhill section really just, they didn't hold on to that draft, and this is game over, it looks like, for the 4 riders that were kind of sleeping off the back. You can see them there in the distance there. Casey Shum there, suffering here right now. 170 beats per minute, 5.3 watts per kilogram, just to hang on, moving backwards. You can see him tilting his head a little bit. That's a signature move sometimes of riders who are looking, come on, where's the water? Just trying to find something in the legs. Looks like he's going to be able to grab the wheel though at the back end of that that rider D Moore there from Vitus there. It looks like now Shum going right on by, trying to make his way toward the front again, because it's going to be a little uphill, then through the pastures for a moment to be a right-hand turn down toward the KOM, and that's really where the points really start to kick off, is at that KOM. We're about, I believe, 4K from that section of the course, and that's when riders are really going to light things up. It's really just a warm-up at this point.
It certainly is. Well, Whale of Ireland riding for Cryogen. Cryogen on the offensive. That's the second attack. It's only 2 of their riders that managed to break clear, perhaps forcing the other teams to chase, and the other riders, of course, from their team can rest up, but it won't be long before we swing right, as you said. We're heading down Penny Pot Lane. This is another very, very fast section. The gradient's really steep, but obviously in a negative direction within that little S-bend, and then the King of the Mountains. And it's certainly not an easy climb, Nathan. The climb they're going to face next comes in steps. The steepest part is at the bottom, then it just drags up all the way to the line. Not very easy at all, and I think we could see some attacks going there. But this is a good move by Wells, still pushing up 5.2 watts per kilogram. A. Coles is just behind.
Yeah, we have seen Cryogen actually do this specifically time and again throughout these races. We saw them go off the front in Richmond for a little while. We see them, mid-race kind of trying to loosen up the legs, it looks like, of a few of the other riders. Maybe a little bit of TV time here as well. We'll have to see if they can follow up with something on the attacks over the top of the KOM. Is getting brought back in by Fromlin, though, from Fusion. Brockvik there to the front from Vision. Christensen then, also Ryan Christensen, one of the Zwift Academy finalists, leading things out for Canyon BH here as well. So it looks like Cole's indoor specialist now also making the way to mid-pack, but toward the back immediately. Whale almost spit off the back. So very risky moves sometimes to try and go off the front, especially before downhills like this in these negative gradients. Now we're going to take the left-hand turn to the KOM. This is when it's going to kick off. We're looking at a little bit over a minute climb here at this point, depending on what kind of watts. And I think it's going to be all in. There's no more laps after this. So I think it's nothing but orange numbers to the top.
Yeah, definitely. With the average grade at this climb, it's called the forward climb. It's 1.2 kilometers in length. Average gradient is 6%, but it's this part, this bottom part that is steepest. It's actually about 10 or 11% that you just drop over the top and it just drags all the way to the line. So still about 800 meters left of this climb. It's very, very difficult to pace it right. And look at the power being laid down here. Ollie Jones on the front, an immensely talented Zwift racer, also out on the road as well, but some big numbers. We just had putting out nearly 8 watts a kilo. A lot of red we're seeing, and a feather power up is being used as well. This, of course, is the optimum place to use one of those.
Yeah, we do see Coleman here now making his way to the front. It looks like it's going to be Moultrim as well from Vitus Pro Cycling here. Vyasen now trying to follow that as here they come to about halfway point up at the top of the KOM. Vyasen kicking 7 watts per kilogram per him. Diner following up. So it's Canyon ZCC, the 2 purple kits taking over toward the front now, but it looks like Jonathan Levi, who was able to take the KOM on Libby Hill, is going as well, sitting perfectly for that second pounce. As you did say, it was the kick right from the get-go, then kind of a 2-tier. There's going to be a left-hand turn here, and they're going to see the KOM in the distance, and it's Gardner here who saved, but now an invisibility power up here taken from one of the riders that looks like that will be McGlinchey, actually sneaking through here. McGlinchey's invisible at this point. Nobody can actually see him. Doesn't look like he had the wattage though to come through. Levi leading things out. KRT 10 watts per kilogram coming from Jonathan Levi. This could be a win here for Jonathan Levi and the KRT team for those points, but no, it looks like Vitus Pro Cycling saved it for the last moment, but it's neck and neck. 13, 12 watts per kilogram between the 2 riders. Right to the line of Vyasen with the arrow power, with the drafting power up. Vyasen timed it perfectly, it looks like. What an amazing kick from line of Vyasen. The timing, the 3 neck and neck here. What were the points? It was Vyasen, Levi, McGlinchey just not quite able to come to the top there. Gardner. And then it looks like Barra from KRT, should Fusion there was Soren Bay, Ryan Larson from IS, and then it will be Brandlin, followed up by Alex West and Diner. What a kick to the line there for Vyasen. So well timed, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Levy was looking very, very strong indeed. Great picture shot of him out of the saddle, leaning on at the watts. But Vyasen, such a consummate professional, knows how to time his effort to absolute perfection. But that big run to the line has split things up. Here's a look at the team point situation. KRT leading now with 15. Canyon ZCC in second with 13. In third, Indoor Specialists with 11. But still, of course, we have the hotspot sprint and then double points and more on the finish line. But great action. But this field now has really started to split up. We've got 2 distinct groups and a lot of stragglers now, Nathan.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of attack here as it did look like Raktovic there did go off the front from Vision, trying to counter things. There's a huge group trying to chase down this breakaway at this point. It does look like it's going to come back together, but that is a little bit telling that some of these riders had fallen off and they have to use this larger group to chase things back in this negative 10% gradient. We're going to take a left-hand turn right into a climb, and then we're going to see a sprint section coming up in just about 1K. A counterattack here coming from McGlinchey again. Such an aggressive rider. Vyasen looking to follow things up, it looks like, right off the bat here as they do head into the 6% uphill gradient right now. Christensen following the wheels. Selin here coming from Innovation there as well. We do see a feather power up. Some luck actually being used here. Good RNG, random numbers games there coming from Vyasen as he did use a feather power up, but that's a little bit early on that. Maybe suffering at 181 beats per minute currently from Lionel. So as they're going to come in this next sprint section here, we did see it was again Canyon ZCC and Indoor Specialist neck and neck. Vitus hanging on in 4th place there as well. So there's still looks like about 3-4 teams here that can still take the win overall from the points.
Well, definitely, but interesting to Yanni Brakovic, who's just moving to the front, has now been overtaken by Bird. The sprint is coming up very, very shortly. They'll hang a right in a few moments' time. There it is. Great shot there of the remnants of the peloton just cruising around that corner. Bird of Canada and Team Draft has gone off the front. Good move. This is a very, very early move. They're a team that's going to need some points, but very interesting to see him go so long.
Yeah, and this is way out, but he's got 2 seconds here at this point. It looks like he's a complete upset, actually, to the whole pack there. They caught sleeping a little bit. Draft actually taking 2 of the top spots, it looks like. What a result there for Team Draft. They were off the leaderboard for the team points, and that was quite the move. Snuck off the front. Nobody was responding. Everybody might have just been in their hurt locker, actually, at that point because of that KOM. And now, like we said, one right after another. We're within, I believe, the last 3 to 4K here, and it's just going to be a couple little undulations, and then we've got the finishing straight. So Bird taking it down for Team Draft with his teammate Muir.
That was a very, very good opportunist maneuver. It had the power as well. It was riding at 11 watts a kilo. We've just seen a ghost power-up being used. My favourite power-up there is the running total of the team. KRT 28, Canyon ZCC with 23. Draft moving up the rankings, courtesy of first and second on the last spot with 19 points. Still all to play for. Remember, 25 points on the line, on the finish line here in Harrogate. All sorts of power-ups being used. Still a big group together, but this is where there's hardly any flat now. It's up and down all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be Canyon ZCC, Draft, KRT, Vitus Pro Cycling. That's the situation. Indoor Specialists as well. So those are the 5 teams to be watching out for. Unless we do see some of these teams that have been a little bit quieter on these sprint and KOM sections, really have been saving everything for this final kick up and over the top. And that could be the situation here. As Innovation's been fairly quiet here at this point. We'll have to see if they can make something happen, as I do believe they have 1 or 2 riders still in there. Fusion is still on the board. I'm not sure they're going to have the kind of power, though, to make it happen to the finish line here. Now to the front, I am seeing it looks like it's going to be the DBR team perhaps taking over at the front here. Mortensen, yep, DBR now taking over. It does look like we've got Clark there. Nigel Clark from the BRT team there. It's been a little quiet throughout the race, maybe setting up for a race win here. We'll have to wait and see. Christensen now to the front as well. Diner, lots of pink and purple to the front. It looks like 4 riders from Canyon ZCC still all there. And that's really what's going to matter, is how many riders you've got in that top 10, because it is a team points competition.
Indeed, well, we've just seen a little attack. 1 kilometre to go. Now they've gone onto the Flam Rouge. It is Yanni Brakovic, the former World Tour rider, who has gone clear. Looks like he's been swept up, though. He's riding a lot near the front. That's Max Stedman as well. A very diminutive climber. He'll like this rolling finish. It's left and then it's right. It won't be long before they swing on to the final finishing straight. It's about 300 metres at about 6%. Then a little drag to the line. It's a finish window very, very well. Vintini now goes 9 watts a kilo. Here is the right turn, Nathan. Take it to the finish.
And it is going to be Sean Vinton at the front here. Innovation taking over right from the get-go, but usually this gets caught out. This is very, very early. Arrow power-up, trying to catch everybody out like Draft did in the sprint situation. Not sure it's going to happen, but Sean Vinton, Innovation, we spoke about them maybe waiting up for just this moment. He's still got like 400 meters to the line. His teammate Hug trying to come across him. It looks like Christensen here now still sitting in. Draft sitting in, waiting for that moment. Sitting in at 12 watts per kilogram, though. Does anybody still have a kick? And it looks like it's going to be to the line. McGlynn Hug, no, Brandlin comes over for Team Sweden with the feather power up, 14 watts per kilogram. It looks like Brandlin's going to walk away with this one. It'll be his 3rd, followed up by Viljasin and McGlinski, it looks like. And it looks like Canyon ZCC there for the top 4 have put 2 riders in there. Lots of points on the line there. And it looks like, I believe Canyon ZCC was able to throw down with the top 4, 2 in there. That's a lot of points. Sam Brandlin takes his 3rd win on the Pro-Am Tour de Zwift in this stage number 7. Louder Viljasin coming through for 2nd. Christopher McVinci holding down for Vitus Pro Cycling. James Phillips then comes through, like we said, for Canyon ZCC. Gavin Dempster, Draft on the board. Lots of points for them there. Sean Vinton, Ryan Larson, Philip Diner, Nikki Hug, and then Matt Gardner. So, Canyon ZCC, Matt, maybe not taking the win. Brandlin, he's been amazing getting across in the scratch race, but the team that's been showing up, obviously, Canyon ZCC.
Yeah, well, Canyon ZCC managed to get 4 in the top 10 last week. They've got 3 in the top 10 then, but what can you say about Brandlin as we look at the rest of the top 10? West, Bay, Kalman Bara, Christensen, Levy, Bird, Coleman, Mottram, and then Martin Mortensen from the Danish bike riders with 6 points. There are another 5 riders to score points, of course, but that was an amazingly timed sprint. He just doesn't panic, does he, Sam Brundtland? Times it to perfection. You see other riders going long, but there's something about him. He just knows when to lay down the power at the right time. He knows when to, detonate his power-ups. But that was a mighty, mighty victory. Dominant performance, but a real good team performance by Canyon ZCC as well.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things played out, though. If it was enough for Innovation, obviously Canyon, well done in the top 10. Let's head on back to the studio with OJ and Rhea for a look at how things played out.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Thank you very much, Matt. Fabulous race again. That finish is just a whole world of pain.
Yeah, not only was it a whole world of pain, but I was really surprised how many riders were still in it at the very finish. Timing is yet again everything.
Well, we saw Vinting go, and I mean, we've got a fair few people in the studio today watching this where we are. Lots of shouts of go for it, and I thought he was going to hold it, I must admit.
And then where does he come from? Brandlin again, just out of nowhere. You're really wishing wishing for Vinton to do really well, because he went, we all thought, did he go a bit early?
Well, it looked like he had. It looked like he had, and then you
but
saw...
he's holding it.
You saw the meters ticking off and you think maybe he's got it, but that's that slingshot effect, that ability to generate that much power so quickly.
Yeah, that power is intense, and it's timing, because obviously you can see him coming through the finish line with such power, but also just taking him right at the very last second.
It's timing. We've talked about it before.
0.2 of a second.
Yeah, all right. Stop bringing it up. Let's take a look at the team standings. Obviously, this is a team event to see who the winner is, and we thought it might be Canyon ZCC. They've been, I think, of the 4 men's races we've had as part of the Tour de Zwift, they have won 3 of them, second in the other. They've been dominant. They have, and it's been really impressive to see so many riders in the top 10. I think 4th in the last race and 3 today. And with this being a team race, having that many points being scored shows nearly 50 points between the next team. Yeah, Canyon ZCC, fabulous, fabulous racing there again. Just to say, we are T-minus 10 minutes from the women's race. It is a double A side. We've had the first side. We'll have the second one in a bit. And if you're one of the women's teams, would you have watched that? Yeah, absolutely. You'll be warming up right now. It's perfect time. You're making sure your heart rate is up, your muscles are ready, and then you're looking at what happens. So what sort of strategies are the team employing, and where did the breaks happen, and what can I do to improve my race based on what the boys have just done? Well, if any of them missed that final part, including Gary Sermon, who I saw in the chat, had said that he'd missed the final because he was up getting a glass of wine. Oh, no. So he'd missed the final sprint. So let's do a replay. This is what happened at the end of this race. Take us through it again, Rhea, because it was a fabulous finish. We just talked through it, but it is great. Well, you saw the final group was just stretching out, and Vinton absolutely goes for it. And here you can see Brandlin just coming up, and he had the feather, exactly the power up we thought he would need to take the win. Unbelievable. The powers, the watts that he was putting out in order to generate that finish. Yeah, fabulous power, really, really good power. And again, we saw how important those power-ups have been. Because, I mean, we've said it before, in these races, when you're in a pack, if you need something and you need that little bit of something here or there, it's all about making sure you got the right power-up at the right time. Well, and the right power-up is exactly it. We saw from the start line, half the riders were just dropping their power-ups because they had ghost perks, and trucks. And I think the strength for this race was definitely the feather. So I think that's what you saw, is you saw everyone just ditching them and hoping for that sort of selection to come through for them, and it was exactly what they needed. I believe we've got something else. What have we got for this next bit? We have a replay. Let's take a look at this again. This is... Oh, this is how they crossed the line. Yeah, I mean, there you go. That is Lionel taking second, and then it's McGlinchey who got third. A fabulous finish right at the end. Fabulous shot as well. Shout out to Lionel, actually, there. Yeah. He did really well. He did. He timed it. He just couldn't get onto the Brandlin powertrain. Yeah. The powertrain was there. Now, we do still have the women's race to come, so do not go anywhere. If you need to get a glass of wine, slip out really quickly, but you're going to miss something really good, because whilst we're waiting for that race to start, which is roughly, as I said, about 7 minutes time, we'll get back in. Let's take a look back on the best bits from this year's Tour de Zwift Live. Hello and welcome to Tour de Zwift Live. It looks like it might be Warren Wilkinson who timed it perfectly, but no, Daniela Hansen, they were so close. Tour de Zwift is going to be so exciting, and that it's every single world as well. I will be doing London, I'll be doing Innsbruck, whatever it is, I know I'll be doing it, and I love that. As soon as I got a smart trainer and I got an iPad and I hooked it all up, I was like, yeah, I'm in. Now right to the line, perfectly timed. Brandlin, it looks like right at the line, very, very close.
Hey everyone, welcome to my ride. I appreciate you coming today.
This is also my first time doing a Zwift meetup.
We do have Holden Camille here on the screen. This is the reigning national champion of the USA on Zwift. We're looking at Fran Bamber here now from the AHDR team. Line of Austin here, Canyon CCC, national champion left and right, every part of the peloton we look at here, we've got them. Watopia is the largest and the oldest map on Zwift. Aero is everything on this route. So go with the Zip 858 Super 9 disc wheels, because they're the fastest hoops in the game. And it looks like it's going to be Hog at the line here, just barely. No, Bradley timed it perfectly. Woohoo!
Better luck next time.
We've been asking you to share your TDZ pain face with us. They're very, very good ones. Philippe and Blog. Oh my God, it's awful.
Oh, look at that.
Look at this mess.
That's a brilliant pain face.
As soon as it happened, I got a huge
outpouring from the Zwift community. So I set up this contraption in my hospital. I was able to Zwift with these people all around the world from my hospital bed. It was really Tour de Zwift last year, actually. I was sort of beginning to see those sort of racing heart rates that I'd seen before, and I thought, hang on, this is the old Rach come back again.
DBR coming through, but it's going to be Hubach, it looks like. Hubach at the line.
Hey, come in.
Oh, wow. This is incredible.
I do probably 90% of my riding on Zwift in here.
For the first time ever, running has been included in the Tour de Zwift, which is great.
Running on the treadmill. Okay. Look at the red badge of courage on his knee.
DBR with the domination. Looks like it's going to be Hubach holding all the way to the line.
I love riding with other people on Zwift. I think I'm a better person for it, actually.
Now then, it has been a fabulous Tour de Zwift so far. We've still got one race to go. We are 5 minutes away from the women starting to ride those same streets of Yorkshire. And fresh from the streets of Yorkshire, I believe we've got John Mould with us. And I think the question to you, John, after that race, if you could sum it up in maybe a noise or a word, what was that like?
Awful. Normally, I think that's the best way. It was, savage one, that.
How did you get on?
Not that great. I lost contact on the climb, but I was kind of watching the other lads in Rowan King. We were still fighting for that front group, but unfortunately didn't have the legs. And luckily, I guess like last time I went for a sprint in Innsbruck, Brandon came past me and took the win anyway. So he did the same again. His ability to generate watts and fly past people. I mean, he's shown you how you sprint at the end of these races. Yeah, he's timed it perfectly, pretty much. Every race we've done, so hats off to him. He's really shown us how to do it. And then of course Canyon ZCC picking up every place behind, really every race. So it's been a tough Tour de Zwift so far. John, it's been great to watch you race. I mean, you've raced in the real world, you've raced Conti, all these different levels. What has it been like racing Tour de Zwift? It's savage, really good fun, but yeah, if you haven't got the legs, there's no hiding on Zwift. So makes you want to train a lot harder and make sure you're up there the next time and keep that fire going inside. John, thank you so much for joining us. I know after a race is never the time you want to talk to anyone.
That's amazing. He didn't even have a pain face.
Oh,
he had a smile face.
He did have a pain face there. John, thank you very much. Let's look at some more pain faces. We do have some more ahead of the women's races. Again, you can send these in, hashtag Tour de Zwift. Let's take a look at some more before we get into the next race. Linda Jakobsen won. That's not a pain face.
No,
that's
it's a happy face.
Warm face.
She's just won her race there.
Bet Kayak. You think she has won a race there?
Yeah, again, number one finger. Yeah, I think she's proud of herself for that performance.
And that's Pain Hair.
Pain Hair.
Yeah, definitely Pain Hair. And I know we've got a few more as well. Who's
at
this?
That is me. In another Zwift race, maybe last year, but I am desperately trying to get the win. Yeah. And there's me actually beating you.
Yeah, and I see the top of your hat doesn't have anything in there. So is that golf? We just finished playing golf.
It's for my
thank you so much for all of your contributions to the art gallery of sweaty faces. Don't forget, there's still time to join the conversation as we have the women up next. Get in touch with us, hashtag Tour de Zwift, or you can join the chat on YouTube or Facebook. Now, where are we? 2 minutes away from this next race starting. Let's again take a look at the race format. If you're just joining us, here we go. Same as before, Raya.
Yes, same as before. It's the same points-based system for the team. The only difference that you're going to see here, same points for the sprint, same points for the Queen of the Mountain. However, there's only 20 points to be won over the line for the women's race today, which is 5 less than the men have.
Indeed. Let's take a look at the women's teams who are taking part. Again, we've got Danish bike riders who have been dominant every race so far.
I mean, they're the main team that we have to note. They've won every single race. So we assume that they are the odds-on favorite for tonight. And in a close second, Turbo and Vision following suit, but nowhere near DBR.
Let's take a look at some of the riders who we know will be animating the race.
Absolutely. Well, Hansen has been there with DBR the whole way, winning points and races. But it's important to note Mary Wilkinson from Canyon ZCC and Anui Doma as well. This is a race really suited to her and her ability with experience on the roads.
Again, especially as we've just seen the men's race go off, we know they'll be watching it. Do you think this one, we didn't really see any breakaways. We saw people attempt it in the men's race, but none of them stuck.
I was impressed actually how much of the team stayed together. We got to that sort of the base of the King of the Mountain, and we still had 75 riders in the main pack.
That's a big old peloton.
I thought it would have broken up a lot more in that false flat right out the front.
Yeah, it's a brutal start, which we're about to see once again. Thank you very much, Raya. Here we go. The final race today, the final race of Tour de Zwift Live in Yorkshire. Let's say, do you want to do the A up?
A up. It's over to Nathan and Matt.
Hey, thank you so much, OJ and Rhea. Great intermission show. And we are about to head out 20 seconds to go. And I'm wondering if we're going to see the same kind of fireworks. I bet we are. And can anybody unseat DBR is going to be the question. I think we've got some new blood in here, though, from the in real life pro teams, as well as some of these riders that have been following that DBR domination. I think there's also Helen McKay Turbo has really been pushing the pace often, Matt.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, there's some different riders in the mix here. We mentioned at the top of the show, Rhea mentioned Cassia Nuyadoma, a real class bike rider from Canyon SRAM. Last year's winner of Amstel Gold has won rides at World Tour level. And if there's a course on Zwift that you think would suit her, it would be this one. But we know it is such a different proposition riding on Zwift, such a specialist sort of effort as they just crossed through the finishing line and they're rolling out. I wonder if we see a similar race to the men's or whether we see a more aggressive one. But I was a little bit surprised that we saw so many riders coming to the foot of the climb as well. But after that, Nathan, it did actually break up, and I think we saw the lead group had only 20 riders in it. I think the second part of the course with that KOM, with that hotspot sprint, really broke things up.
Yeah, I'd have to agree 100% there that the reality of the just non-stop come at you course eventually started to really hit the legs of some of the riders, and we did see things really break up at the back end. I have a feeling we'll see something similar to that. We'll have to see on this little 3% uphill gradient now as they start to hit that. We do see it looks like Team Sweden making the way to the front. Turbo there with Beryl, actually another rider that has been really aggressive from Team Turbo, and something that I've noticed from Team Turbo is that they are not scared to go to the front. They have not been timid whatsoever throughout this series of races, and they've really tried to push the pace and make some moves. And we do see this again as we do see Team Turbo is in, as you can see Turbo on the back of those pockets there. There's that dark purple black kit there. But it will be Nelson here from Team 2020, actually. In real life pro team now, making the way to the front. Will 2020 continue to put the pressure on and just throw down some watts and some power to say, hey, follow this pure power that we do have and bring to the table?
Indeed. Well, another rider that's just up in the mix as well is a former Belarusian road race champion, another rider for Canyon SRAM, and that is Elena Animaluzic. She is a very, very experienced road rider indeed. She's done a few races on Zwift, but she's taking the lead at the moment. She was just dropped into first place, has now dropped back into the pack, but making sure she's at the front. A few riders having a little bit of difficulty already, but some big numbers, as we saw in the men's race. Big watts. This is a very, very tough opening section of this course. Not an easy circuit at all, as we've mentioned on numerous occasions. 1.4 kilometers long, average gradient of 4%. Not easy to rest at all, and that's why I think we're seeing teams taking the opportunity to try and push things at the front as Animaluzic, the Belarusian, goes to the front now.
Yeah, and it does look like Canyon SRAM here showing up and really trying to push the pace. Now, maybe just making sure that they're not getting any kind of trouble as well, because you have noticed over this section, it's kind of this pressure that's put on and that very sharp downhill with the very high speeds. If you find yourself just 1-2 meters off the back, your race can be over so incredibly quickly. So the riders who really know how to race this course, know how to race out on Zwift, they're going to be really making sure that within that top 20, always kind of circulating there. We do see a burrito power up actually being used. KRT making the way to the front. That's going to be Gardner actually. And that burrito power up, the use of that makes it so she is undraftable for that 15 seconds or so. Didn't really make anything happen. Maybe just using it at an opportune time at the front, put a little hurt on, and then maybe looking for obviously something a little bit better for later on. Hubach now, DBR though, 10 watts per kilogram. This is an early animation, and it looks like Whitelaw also there from DBR. DBR looking to go with a 1-2 TT off the front. This could be a threat if they're able to kick away 2 seconds right off the bat here. And it looks like Canyon SRAM trying to follow it up. Hansen just following wheels. So it looks like like this is very well set up. Cecilia Hansen from DBR is sitting in within the top 3, not chasing her teammates down, allowing these two to go. Already cat and mouse games here. DBR domination starts from the get-go.
Well, this is incredible stuff. Whitelaw and Huback and in front putting out some very big numbers, and in the process, unsurprisingly, given the numbers they are putting out, have managed to move themselves clear by 5 seconds. Remember, there's no hotspot sprints just yet. There's no King of the Mountains. This first part of the course is just tarmac, as it were, virtual tarmac. Huback, of course, in fine form. She'd already won over in Watopia, and she won last week on the New York Gotham Grind as well. The Danish rider looking very, very good, but surprisingly, these riders now have a lead of 7 seconds. Nathan, this is exceptionally dangerous. Once they get up to double figures, this pairing are going to be very, very difficult to bring back.
And you do see them get in that super tuck. Now, for those of you that are new to watching here, Zwift racing or have not Zwift raced before, that super tuck does increase your speed. You get over 35 miles per hour. I think it's right around 60 kilometers per hour or so. You then go to 0 watts per kilogram, or zero watts altogether, and you then get into a super tuck on a 3% downhill gradient or more. They obviously know how to control the game, know how to keep those speeds as high as possible. They're working together now, but look at how fast a pack comes up on you. This is 80 riders or so, and with that many riders, there's just too much speed built up, and no matter how strong these two riders were, they were going to need 20 to 30 seconds to try and hold on to that. Siri Hildonen, Canyon ZCC shuts it down, and 4 riders, it looks like, actually 3 riders from Canyon ZCC all to the front now with Canyon SRAM also assisting. It looks like DBR going to jump back into the back of the pack here, but it has split the pack up a little bit. 6 seconds off the back here. There's going to be Machner from Vision leading things out with the chase group. It looks like Bradley as well. Simone Boylard now from 2020, and Backus from Turboship here from Canyon SRAM. Lots of riders. There's 31 riders here now, it looks like, plus off the back it's only a group of 30 off the front.
Now this is looking, that was, I must admit, I expected that move to last a little bit more, but it just shows you the difference, the momentum in the peloton. The riders can obviously rotate on the front, saving energy, and collectively they've just got that little bit more in the tank. As we look at the stats of Elena Milusic, as I mentioned before, the former Belarusian road race champion, rides at world team level on the women's circuit, putting 266 watts out at the moment, and happy to do quite a lot of turns on the front. This is very interesting indeed. And the other team, sponsored by Canyon ZCC, got their riders in the 4 as well. Good to see Siri Holden, a former finalist in the Zwift Academy, up in the mix as well. But no rider now attempting to try and move clear. We're going to be turning right onto the back part of the circuit, and then things start to really go up and down.
Yeah, now as we do look at this main group here with 30 riders or so, a few obviously caught out. There's a chase group trying to make things happen here, a little ways behind, and it is going to be a 7-second gap. That could come back here, but I think the tactic there from the DBR riders worked out in their favor. They pushed the pace over the top, 6-7 watts per kilogram, grabbed some speed, and with that speed, they were able to get a chase group from the main pack there to even break away and put pressure on those who were chasing along with them, and boom, we've got this breakaway situation. A large pack, but I think DBR, it was part of their plan, and it seems to have worked out, as it has broken things up, and they have a lot less riders to worry about at this point. And because of that, I think the opportunity for them to break away again is going to be there. I have a feeling that DBR are going to sit in for a little while, and we'll see a second attack from them because we have a smaller group to chase them down.
Indeed. Well, it will be interesting to see if that group, you can just see them dangling off the back as Bradley from Vision moves to the front. Celia Hildonen, she likes to ski in her spare time, cross-country skier, a mother of 3 as well. Exceptionally good bike rider, but it looks like they're putting some serious daylight in between this group and that second group behind. That was a good move. Most of the major teams have got representation here. This could make it all the way down to the finish. I don't think we're going to see the same cohesion in that chasing group, Nathan.
No, not at all. Now Huback to the front, gets into the super tug. DBR with, it looks like, Hansen out to the front. Daniela from Revo. Watch out for this rider. Revo's on the back of this pack, sitting in. This has been one rider that over and over again has come to the line with DBR. We're watching out for that solo Revo rider there to try and make some moves. Now we get into the flat section again. Leah Thorvaldsen from Team Turbo making the way to the front. Now it's going to be Vision here taking over in the light blue, black, and white kit with C. Bradley now 179 beats per minute as they head over toward the pasture here at this point. Thorvaldsen Turbo now up to the front. It looks like Canyon SRAM now on the right-hand side of the pack as well. And now Rowan King with Norton here, putting a little dig in on that 4% uphill gradient, keeping the speeds high. It's gone out to 14 seconds here at this point, but they are still coming off the downhill. Grobler from Revo with the chase group leading things out, but this is going to be Baring, looks like, as well as a few others, trying to get back on terms with that group up ahead. But now we're back in with the main group here, it looks like, as we do look at the Canyon ZCC rider on the right-hand side there. A little bit of a kick, as it looks like the pressure is being put on the front end of this pack now, as we do have Thorvaldsen now backing off a little. It looks like Velocity's in there as well with Watts, and it looks like Sidlick there from Velocity actually is the rider who's taken over at the front.
Indeed, and we've also got Mary Wilkinson in the mix. She'll like the fact that this has been an attritional race from the off. She'll like the fact that there's a smaller group at the front. And if there's a smaller group at the front at this point of the race, we can pretty much say that it's going to whittle down even further when we get to the top of the King of the Mountains climb, or just the bottom of that climb. We saw the men's race break up considerably from that point onwards. And I think that's going to suit, Nathan, the riders that like to go long. Not necessarily the sprinters, but when you're in a smaller group, it's far easier to try and break away. There's less cohesion behind to actually formulate any kind of a meaningful chase. So this is a very interesting situation panning out.
Yeah, and I do believe we're looking at the chase group here. We did see Backus there from the real life efforts coming to her for a moment now. And now we do see the front group. Actually, no, this is the front group. Now we have gone back in with them. See Fox here from the BRT team now taking a right-hand turn into the downhill. This is going to be the last setup before the points are on the line here. So downhill for about 500 to 600 meters, and then we're going to be heading into the KOM left-hand turn. Probably going to be a minute 15 to a minute 30. Everything you got for the first points that are going to be on the board. Mary Wilkinson, Canyon ZCC, still sitting in well, as we can see toward the front. It does look like Emily Lusek there from Canyon SRAM as well, making her way to the front. Cryogen's still involved. Vicky Nealon as well from BRT. Another rider that deserves a mention, is she's been one of the riders that's been able to challenge the DBR teams as well in the community race. Here at Madsen from Team Turbos there. It looks like right there is Oil from Revo. So looks like Daniela Straight not solo at this point. Another Revo rider there able to make this front group.
Yeah, another rider that we have not mentioned yet who actually won in London, and that's Helen McKay. She is also in this front group. So a rider that knows how to win has managed to infiltrate this front group. So a lot of classy bike riders here as we look at Tina Grobler of Team Revo, putting out just under 300 watts. I think she is in a chase group actually, just towards the back. That's the kind of effort you need to try and get back on terms. Very, very difficult, I think, for any other riders to get back in contact, considering the class that we have in this front group. We're just dropping down to the bottom, or to the foot of the King of the Mountains climb now.
Yeah, and at this chase group here, trying to bring things back. They're going to take a left-hand turn in just a moment now, but we do see the orange numbers popping off on the right-hand side. That is going to be the front group, 1st through 10th, that we're always watching on the right-hand side there. Duncombe is at the front there from Vision in the lead group at this point, as they do start the KOM. And here we go with the front group, and it looks like it is going to be Duncombe, 6.7 watts per kilogram coming from her. C. Watts there trying to follow things up from 3R. Kristen Falk from Canyon ZCC trying to set things up a little bit there for them as well. Siri Hildonen came into this climb very strong with some orange numbers, it looked like, before they even hit the bottom. Maybe more of a setup for her teammates. We do see 2 Canyon ZCC riders to the front. As you said, Mary Wilkinson, before this race, we were chatting a little bit about maybe favoring her as the kind of climber that she is. I mean, she's definitely one of the strongest climbers we've ever seen out on Zwift. Is she sitting in this 4th wheel right now, just waiting, as we watch Vicky Nealon lead things out, though, at 6 watts per kilogram, trying to put the hurt on to McKay and Whitelaw from the DBR team. Now here comes Mary, actually. Scary Mary making her way to the front now. A little bit of a move, 5% uphill gradient. We're about halfway. That second kick is going to be in just a moment. Drops off to 2% now. She carries some speed into it here and keeps that pace very high. Vicky trying to close it down, but it's Mary Wilkinson still 5.6 watts per kilogram. She's getting distance here, Matt. She may be able to pull this off. Your prediction here, will Mary Wilkinson hold on, or will we see a kick as Nelson comes through? Now Hubach to the line here. It looks like Hubach's going to try and take it right here. Mary Wilkinson not going to be able to hold on as Vicky Nealon comes over the top with a feather power up and may have an upset because of that feather power up. It is a few meters. Hubach responding, 7 watts per kilogram, 184 beats per minute here from Nealon. Will she hang on and upset Hubach here? Coming across is Cecilia Hansen. Mary Wilkinson following up. Mary Wilkinson's got an arrow power up. Mary Wilkinson, 8 watts per kilogram coming from Wilkinson. Will Wilkinson do it at the line here? It's only 100 meters or so. Trying to come over the top. 7 watts per kilogram from Wilkinson, and it's going to be DBR trying to hang on. Wilkinson looks like might be able to grab that second place, but another kick from Hubach. Hansen, Hubach, and then Wilkinson. Scary Mary able to bring back 3rd up against the challenge, the dominating DBR team.
Well, Hansen takes it from DBR, as you just said, with 10. Huback in third, a very strong Wilkinson in third position. Then we have Neelan, Barrel, McKay, Whitelaw, Daniela, Nelson, and Johnson. But I think as well as the points that these riders have taken, they managed to split this group. Just look at the damage between the first 10 riders now. Wilkinson out in front and all the way back down to 10th place, should I say. 14 seconds, that big effort by Wilkinson and Huback on the climb, assisted by a real shrewd use of power-ups, has meant we've got a real split here. We did see it a little bit in the men's race. No flat sections at all. Importantly, will these riders combine to work together?
Now we are seeing the team points situation. DBR, because of that 1-2 across the line, 23 points. Turbo then coming through for that 11. Canyon CC for 8. It looks like BRT there, 7. Revo followed up by 2020, Velocity Vixen then, and that's going to be it for points on the board right now. Now, interesting situation here. Vicky Nealon was able to chase back into this group. It was a race of meters for her at that point. McKay, 3.6 watts per kilogram off the back of this with the chase group of 4. So it's going to be McKay. Whitelaw, actually, from DBR. Will she chase down her teammates? Is Vicky Whitelaw, the national champion of Australia of Zwift here, is in this chase group. 2 Turbo girls, it looks like, trying to make a chase here, and that will definitely be to their favor, as Barrel and McKay might be able to bring this back here. So looks like the Canadian Barrel now on the front. Now McKay here making her way to the front as well. And it's going to be Whitelaw. Daniela is straight actually here now, giving a little bit of kick. 5 watts per kilogram. But Cecilia Hansen off the front with Mary Wilkinson. Vicky Nealon trying to sit in, it looks like. Will she be able to do so after that chase back to this lead group? Wilkinson pressing the pace. This is completely blown apart. And now what are they thinking, Matt? I mean, the reality is in their heads, do not let those girls come back. Keep the gap here at this point, because these ladies definitely want to try and just have it in the bag as far as the top 3 podium.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Hansen and Huback, exceptionally good riders, consistently in the top 3. In fact, Celia Hansen of the Danish bike riders, twice third in London and Watopia, and she was a runner-up to her teammate in New York. So in great form. We know the caliber of Mary Wilkinson, and of course Huback herself with 2 wins on the board. But good to see Whitelaw still chasing with Daniela Kay, but Neelan looking this is a very classy front group indeed. As they turn right, there's a significant bit of daylight opening up here. But if I now was one of the 2 riders without a team, I'd be thinking, do I just sit on? Do I wait? But I'd be wanting to let Huback and, of course, Celia Hansen do all of the riding now, because Mary Wilkinson, although she's strong, she isn't a sprinter. But Huback, she's not waiting. She's done an invisibility power up and has surged off the front here.
Yeah, here goes Huback now, 10 watts per kilogram. This is for the sprint. She does grab those points. Cecilia Hansen now grabs as well. I'm not sure Wilkinson or Neeland have the power in the legs to respond any longer. 179 beats per minute. But with that little bit of a kick, will Mary be able to come over the top here? Perhaps there's a lot of speed coming through from Mary here. Will she just continue on? Huback backs off to 1.7 watts per kilogram. And immediately, Mary has a 1-second gap, but she's got 2 DBR riders that can sit in on each other and work to chase this down. Vicky Neeland, I think, was just hanging on at this point. She gets broken off from this main pack, and it's going to be 3 off the front now. Mary Wilkinson trying to make a move. Looks like she's going to have to sit in and play some games here with the DBR team, but really they're going to have the 2 that can just go 1-2 and take punches one after another and rest in on Mary's wheel. This is going to be quite the challenge. Now here's the situation. DBR grabs 2 more top 2 spots there, followed by Turbo still with 21 points. Canyon GCC grabbed a few more points there, getting on the board for 3rd still. BRT with Vicky Nealon grabbing those points as well. 4th, Revo, and then Velocity Vixen 2020 gets on the board with 2 points, and KRT with 1. That's the situation for the team points. We head into the final few K here for this final stage 7, Tour de Zwift. We're into the final few K, and it's going to be the women's top 3 that are off the front right now, battling out for that first place.
Indeed. Well, Wilkinson on the front now. She's got the 2 teammates, Huback and Hansen, just behind her. What does she do? Does she try and put a little bit of pressure on and weaken them, or does she let them ride? If I was in her position, I'd be sat on their wheels and just trying to attack them a little bit beforehand, because we know if she leaves it until the sprint, Huback has definitely got the beating of her. But look at this great ride by the Aussie national champion Neelan, 5.2 watts a kilogram. It looks as if she's going to cross this gap and make it back to 4 riders. Wonderful performance here by the Aussie. Is that group going to be swelled? It looks like it is. Fascinating stuff. Only 1.4 Ks to go now, Nathan.
Yeah, Vicky Nealon here, BRT team, Bolt Racing team, coming back here, and it looks like she's just clawing her way over and over again. She hasn't had the response that we've, to these big orange numbers, to these sprints or anything. So I think she really is just on the limit, but it is in her benefit because of the reality of the chase group that's only about 7 seconds behind her. So she's able to grab on these wheels. She'll carry some speed, and she does just that. Vicky Nealon now is on terms with this group. There she comes into the picture now on the left-hand side. Mary Wilkinson going to the back of the pack. Now the games begin with this 1K to go banner here as they come on through, and it's 7 seconds back. Look at this chase group as we go through, and this group is coming on like a freight train. Kristen Falk there, Canyon ZCC to the front. It's going to be a left and then a right-hand turn into the sprint here in just a moment, and they can't let up here at this point because I think this group has a little bit left in the legs and a little less matches burned here.
Yeah, indeed. They've combined a lot. I didn't expect to see them back in the mix. They were about 16 seconds behind, only about a kilometre to go. But coming into the final corner, it is Huback who takes things up. Nealand is in second position. Wilkinson, there is the group just behind. Have they left it too late, or have they got enough in the tank? All the power-ups been dropped, an invisibility power-up coming from the group just behind. The gap has been short, but falls short a little bit by the climb here. But we have 450 metres to go. Wilkinson starts to make her move.
It all comes back together with only about 500 meters to the line here. Wilkinson leading it out, but I think it's just a lead-out train at this point. Huback sitting in, Hansen sitting in. You know they've got orange numbers again. Helen McKay, watch out for McKay. She knows she's got a kick from Team Turbo here. Here comes Wilkinson at 10 watts per kilogram. Wilkinson goes very early here at this point, but there's an arrow power-up coming from Velocity Vixen. Johnson out of nowhere. The New Zealander goes over the top, and she catches them all out. This looks like enough of a gap to hold it to the line. Will she do it? It's with inside at this point. Mary Wilkinson trying to hold on. DBR coming on like a freight train, but she holds it at the line. The upset. Velocity Vixen takes it at the line. What an effort from Johnson. Upsets the DBR domination. Matt, Johnson, where did she come from? Sat in, and that group, that chase group, just made it happen.
Well, that was an amazing performance. There it is in black and white. Ione Johnson of Velocity Vixens takes it 20 points. Hansen in second place. Huback has to be happy with third place. Wilkinson in fourth. Nealon, Daniela Estrate. Then we have Whitelaw, Barrett, and Horace Falk. The last rider inside the top 10. But what a performance by Ione Johnson. Just to talk a little bit about her caliber, she has been a Zwift Academy finalist, and in the final did win the race on Zwift, beating Mary Wilkinson. She's won numerous races before, and boy, has she got a punch. But Nathan, with only 1,500 meters, 2Ks to go, she was 10 seconds adrift. What a comeback. I've not seen anything like it. What a fantastic race that was.
Yeah, amazing racer, Ione Johnson, the Zwift Academy finalist. Great job by her. Stephanie, now let's go ahead and read through here the last of the top 20 here. Stephanie Sidlek there from Velocity Vixen as well, getting 11th place. Helen McKay from Team Turbo able to hang on for 12th there. It looks like Gardner from KRT. Nelson for 2020. Rhiannon Norton there for Rowan King. That would be Leo Thorson for Team Turbo. Lizzie Duncombe there coming in for Vision. Here up Madsen for Turbo. Siri Hildona for Canyon ZCC. And Jennifer Reel coming on in for Team Fearless. Amazing result though. Ione Johnson takes it at the line. We knew she was a puncher. Amazing result for the Velocity Vixen to do the upset there for Team DBR. We're going to head back on over to OJ and Rhea to give us the rest of the lowdown on how it all went down.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Matt. As Corey Wood said, beast mode activated there at the end.
Definitely.
That was amazing. Yeah. Amazing. Fabulous end to the race.
And a little bit more similar to, I think, what I would have predicted in that sort of race with those hills at the very end, and the Queen of the Mountain showed that. But again, DBR domination. What is going
domination.
on?
Yeah, I mean, they showed how to race that. They blew the pack apart at the start. Yep. They sat in there. They were there for the intermediate sprints. They were there for the Queen of the Mountain. And then at the end... I mean, Ione Johnson, as Matt was saying, she was 10 seconds down.
Where did she come from?
She was 10 seconds down in that second pack. And she showed timing, acceleration, and just the nous of how to beat DBR.
Yeah. And like taking that sprint and having the guts to do it, because she came from quite far back. I think it was with 300 meters to go, and she was still quite a few feet back from Huback and Hansen. So to see her push through like that was really an incredible effort for the finish.
What did you think of the thinking of Mary Wilkinson? I know there was talk by Matt. He was saying if he was in that race, he'd be sitting on. Do you think she was worried about the sprint? Do you think she was worried about that chase group catching up? Because she was there with 2 DBR riders, and she was riding on the front, which you would normally think wasn't tactically smart.
I think if she was to look back on this race, or if she was giving someone else a piece of advice, she would say exactly the same thing. I'm going to sit behind these 2 and I'm going to let them drag me to the finish. But when you're out there on your own and the rest of your team isn't there and you are a kilometer from the finish, we make all sorts of decisions in that split second, which is either right or wrong, and you have to take that risk. And she did. So
I was thinking that maybe she was worried about that pack catching up, and she thought, let's drive this on, and I'd rather try and sprint 4 people, try and beat 4 people in a sprint, than try and beat 11.
But actually quite a good guess, because that pack was coming up behind them fast and furious, which I didn't think they would catch them.
But then you burnt your matches trying to stay away.
Massively.
It's the way it goes. That's what Zwift racing is all about. Let's take a look at the points leaderboard at the team, see where we ended. Who do you think's at the top? It's DBR again, over double the points of Turbo. Canyon ZCC in 3rd.
And Velocity Vixen there because of Johnson.
Yeah, fabulous minute there. I mean, the speed was unbelievable. We're going to see a replay in just a second. I think it's worth just saying again, and it's become a cliche, it's become something we've said over and over again, but the domination of DBR, they have shown us how you race on Zwift, tactically, with power-ups, and how you use your best riders.
It's been a masterclass in Zwift racing, actually. The 2 girls clearly race well together. They know their strengths. They've really, really researched the courses that they're racing, and obviously love what they're doing. And I'm sure are getting a high from all the winning, which is carrying them in after race after race.
Lots of people saying it was a great end to it. Mo Magic top racing. Becky's dad was not expecting that. I don't think DBR did as well. Matthew Yankel says great move. Mo Magic says chapeau. Lots and lots of fabulous things coming in. If you missed the final, and it really was quite a frantic sprint at the end, let's take a look back at this again and see where Ione Johnson came from, because this is the final part. So we see Mary Wilkinson, and she'd gone for it.
She broke. She was trying to get away from Hansen and Huback, and they were coming up behind them, and we weren't sure what was happening at this point. Hansen and Huback closing in on Wilkinson, and you still don't see it. We still don't see it. I think this is maybe
there she is on the outside. We see the
power
on the outside,
there. She comes from nowhere with the helmet to give her a little bit of extra power, and she's just, no one can touch her. She is pushing, at this point, I think, was she pushing 11 watts per kilo? Those numbers were certainly orange in the side bar.
She timed it just right. I must admit, at this point, I thought, here we go, DBR going to come back, but she timed it right. She managed to hold it out to the line just over as they came through. That's timing for you there. Absolute timing. Should tell you what that reminds me of. There was when the Giro went to Northern Ireland, there was a sprint finish there, and Andrew Greipel came through the bunch, and it was that sort of speed that he came through. It was like he'd been fired out of a gun.
It's like finding another gear, like just dropping it down.
I want that gear. Can I buy? Where do I get this from? Can I get it from my bike?
I need to beat you on the next stage.
Is it the 12th gear? I want it. Well, it has been amazing watching this race.
Are you getting emotional now?
Yeah. I am getting a little emotional. Let's have a watch at this as I get even more emotional. These are the 2 races we've just seen. The men's race before. Levi there, who we saw actually looking like he was working hard. He's a man who looks like he's laid out on a sun lounger the majority of the time with that fabulous moustache in his Zwift mansion.
In
his mansion, yeah. What was interesting was how different the men's race was to the women's race.
Yeah, absolutely. The women's race turned out a lot more than what we predicted. I thought there was some incredibly strong riding from the men's race, especially getting into that King of the Mountain where you still had 75 riders. The last hill broke them up a little bit, but to see that many at the finish was really impressive.
Yeah, Branlin we saw winning this from the sprint. Fabulous shot there over the line. We see how much of a gap he had over Lionel and the rest of the riders coming in the men's. And then this is some highlights from the race we've just seen. We see Hansen, DBR dominance, as we've said a few times before, as they come towards the end. They just timed it absolutely right, didn't they?
Yeah, and they've been doing it all series. Like I said, class act, watching them understand the course and also understanding, I think, their competitors and having a real strategy in order to get this domination. We've been saying it every single time we see them.
They've been so dominant. I thought when that move went off the front, they went up that first climb, they came over the top and down the other side. I thought, this is it.
Yeah.
They're away.
Again.
It's a race-winning move.
Yeah, again. And actually, had we not seen Johnson make that move, I think they would have had it as well.
Yeah. Well, it has been fabulous racing watching all of this. Stage 7 in Yorkshire kicks off in a matter of hours. Starts at 8 AM GMT if that's your time zone. Midnight PST if you're there. Check out Zwift.com/TDZ ride to see the event schedule. Pick one that works for you, whether you ride it, you race it, or you run it, or you can check out the Zwift Companion mobile app. We are definitely going to race it. I just don't know when.
we can't quite work that out yet.
We can't do that. We're going to work. I'm going to speak to your people.
Yeah.
You're going to speak to my people.
Just you.
That's my mum. Yeah. Just give her a shout. She'll tell you when I'm available. Remember, if you've missed any of the stages so far, there will be a makeup week from the 9th to the 16th of February. If you have missed any of it, and if the Tour de Zwift has you hooked, look out for the Tour of Utopia, which is coming very soon. We'll have some more Pro-Am racing as part of that event. And of course, you'll be able to ride, race, and run yourselves silly on that. Ray, it's been great. Thank you so much.
Yes, it has. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
This is the part where I get emotional.
Don't get upset. Don't get upset. We'll see you in Utopia.
All right. Bye, Rhea. And thank you for watching.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.